So about 5 days ago, I made a video similar to this, just going over some contract signings that have happened, and over the past 5 days, there have been a lot more, and I definitely think there is enough to compile it all into one video and give you guys my thoughts. And at the end of the video, I'm going to touch on some Twitter drama that has been going on in the hockey community. I believe it happened, over the past 2 days regarding the Thomas Chabot contract. So that's all the stuff we're going to talk about in today's video, and now without wasting any more time, let's jump right into it. Starting off with the Travis Konecny contract, a 6-year, $33 million deal, an annual average of $5.5 million. And to me, this is kind of a risky contract. Travis Konecny has yet to have a 50-point season. His career high was this past year, 49 points, 24 goals, 25 assists. Definitely a very good year for him, so maybe he caps out at that. Maybe he's just a consistent 45 to 50 point guy, and if that's the case, then maybe this is a little bit of an overpayment. But Travis Konecny is still only 22 years old, and in my opinion, he is going to continue to get better, and in a couple years, this definitely could be looked at as a very solid contract if he can become a 30-goal guy, and maybe a player who can give you 60 to 70 points, and he definitely has the potential to do that. So in my opinion, it was a pretty smart move by the Philadelphia Flyers to get him locked up long term. Talking about Travis Konecny, I kind of thought it was going to be a bridge deal, maybe a 2 to 3 year deal with an annual average of 3 to 4 mil, but they decided to go the other route, lock him up long term. They have trust in him, they think he's only going to get better, and in my opinion, that is what's going to happen. This was definitely a smarter move than the contract that they have Kevin Hayes under, but nonetheless, Travis Konecny should be a pretty big part of this Philadelphia team heading into next season, and it's good that they now finally have him under contract. They can get him into some preseason action before the season gets underway. Next up, we have the Brock Boeser contract. The Vancouver Canucks inked him to a 3-year, $17.625 million deal with an annual average of $5.875 million. And for Brock Boeser, I definitely think this is fair value for what he is as a player right now. Vancouver didn't lock him up long term. They wanted him to prove himself over these next 3 years, and he's definitely going to have the ability to do that. And then if he, becomes a 40-goal scorer and a very elite player over the next 3 years and throughout this contract, he's definitely going to have the chance to cash out with the Vancouver Canucks when this 3-year deal does come to an end. He had a great rookie season, 29 goals, 26 assists for 55 points in 62 games, and then this past season, 1 point better with 56 points in 69 games. For Brock Boeser, I just want to see him play 75 plus games in this up-and-coming season. Same goes for Elias Pettersson, because if those guys both stay healthy, I think they can definitely do some special things together. And now in Vancouver, there isn't as much pressure on those guys to do everything, because you brought in veterans like JT Miller, you brought in Michael Furland, who I think is going to be a very good piece for this team. You help the blue line. I definitely think Vancouver should be in for a pretty solid year, a team that's probably on the bubble of making the playoffs in my opinion. I don't really want to say they're not going to make it, and I wouldn't put my money on them making it either, but they're definitely going to be a fun team to watch, and getting Brock Boeser under contract was definitely priority number one for them this offseason, and they were able to finally get that done. Moving on now, we have Brandon Carlo, who signed a 2-year, $5.7 million contract with the Boston Bruins, an annual average of $2.85 million. So after signing Charlie McAvoy to a pretty solid contract, they were able to get Brandon Carlo under contract as well, and in my opinion, this is a very solid contract as well. Brandon Carlo isn't a guy who's going to wow you with the points whatsoever, but he is a very reliable defenseman and a very important defenseman for this Boston team heading into next season, and he is only 22 years old and can only continue to get better. Like I said, not going to wow you with points. He had a 16-point rookie season back in 2016-17. The following year followed that up with just 6 points, all of them being assists. And then this past season, he had 2 goals and 8 assists for 10 points and was a plus 22. Like I said, a very reliable piece on the back end for Boston. And again, this is pretty solid value. It's another, kind of bridge contract, and if he can really break out and maybe up his offensive game over these next 2 years, he definitely should be in for a raise at the end of this contract. But for Boston, it definitely is very good that now they have all their guys under contract and are ready to go for opening night. Next up, we have Anthony DeAngelo signing a 1-year, $925,000 contract with the New York Rangers, and I thought he was going to get more than that, but they probably couldn't get anything done, and we are getting closer to the regular season, so this is probably just a tide you over contract to get him under contract so he can finally focus on playing, and then they can get back to contract negotiations next summer. But he's a 23-year-old defenseman and definitely should be a pretty important part to this team moving forward. He played in 61 games last year and had 4 goals and 26 assists for 30 points and was a +6. The offense was definitely there for him, and now there isn't going to be as much pressure on him, and he won't have to log that much more minutes now because you have a guy like Jacob Trouba there who's probably really going to be like the horse on that blue line and the guy they rely on most. You still have Brady Shea, and DeAngelo I think can be a very good second pairing guy who can put up solid numbers. So again, it's good that they have him under contract, but this isn't probably what they wanted. They probably wanted to get either a bridge deal or like a long-term deal inked, but New York doesn't really have too much cap space, but at least they have something done to tide them over till next summer. Next up, getting into the big contract, and that is Thomas Chabot getting an 8-year, $64 million deal that will earn him $8 million annually over the next 8 years. And Thomas Chabot came on, had his first full NHL season with the Ottawa Senators in the 2017-18 season, played 63 games and had 9 goals and 16 assists for 25 points. And then this past season, he really broke out and became a star caliber defenseman. 70 games played for Chabot, 14 goals and 41 assists for 55 points. He was on pace to be in the conversation at least for the Norris Trophy before he had gotten hurt. So it does make sense that they wanted to get him locked up long term and give him so much money, but this definitely is a risky contract for a guy who has only played in the NHL for 2 years, has yet to play 75 plus games, and you never know, maybe he falls back next season and is only like a 30 to 40 point defenseman and just a really solid defenseman. Then this definitely would be considered an overpayment, or maybe he has a really bad injury. Hopefully that doesn't happen, you know, knock on wood. I hope Thomas Chabot has a really lengthy and good career and lives up to this contract, because he definitely has the potential to. I've said this on the channel before, I'll say it again, I think he probably will be, you know, one of the top defensemen in the league over the next 10 years, so basically over the course of this contract. So when I saw this, I really wasn't too surprised, but it definitely does make sense as to why some people were like, whoa, you're giving him $8 million annually already over the next 8 years. That is a lot of money for a guy who hasn't proven himself completely just yet. I know you can say he has proven himself, but that was just 1 year, and you never know what could happen in the following years. But you have to remember, this is the Ottawa Senators we're talking about. This is a team that definitely hasn't had a lot of good fortune, you know, over the past calendar year, and they're looking to something to cling on to, and Thomas Chabot is definitely a guy that the fan base can get behind, that the organization can show faith in, and they definitely are showing faith in him by giving him such a lucrative contract already. He's probably going to be the future captain of this team, and you never know, maybe Ottawa waits till next summer when he is actually an RFA to give him his contract, and then this year he breaks out even more and has like a 65 to 70 point season in contention for the Norris Trophy, and then, you know, before you know it, you have to give him like 9 to 10 mil. So I can see why Ottawa did this. I can also see why people think it is very risky. I agree, it is risky, but I'm not mad at Ottawa. I probably would have done the same thing, especially considering everything that's happened to this organization over the past year and a half. And now getting into kind of the drama part of this video, some people might not care about this, but I thought it would be fun to put in the video and just kind of hear your guys' thoughts about it. Jeremy Roenick had this to say after hearing the news about the Thomas Chabot contract. NHL contracts today just blow my mind. I remember when you actually had to earn high salaries. Now they are just given and hope they work out. Crazy. He would then follow up that tweet by saying, happy for Thomas Chabot on his new contract, as he's a great kid with some serious skill. It's amazing what 80 total career points gets you these days though. $64 million over 8 years. Now we watch. And I can definitely see where JR is coming from, you know, only 80 career points, but it is a defenseman who has looked fantastic over the past 2 years, and all signs indicate that he is going to be a future superstar on the blue line for Ottawa. He would then get into some arguments, as someone would reply to him and say, you're absolutely right, Jeremy. The league was better when the Kings paid you $5 million in 06 for check notes. This can't be right. 9 goals and 22 points. JR would then bounce back and say, it was the last year of a contract that I earned for scoring 480 goals at the time, coming off a year lockout. Man, you are not smart and don't know how to compare things. And then he says, hashtag nice try, donkey. I thought this was pretty entertaining. And then an agent by the name of Alan Walsh would say, said the guy who made over 50 mil while playing in the NHL and part of the group of players that stabbed the NHLPA / Bob Goodenow in the back during the 04-05 lockout. Every NHL player with high salaries right now should thank good old JR. Jeremy Roenick would then clap back by saying, hey look, super dumb some agent chimes in on me again. Doesn't surprise me that your tweet is lame. The cap has really kept guys from making big money like some of you brainiacs said. Ha, league is healthier with cap. I made 50 mil, imagine today, lol. So I believe he means imagine what he would make today. I thought this was all pretty funny, and make sure you guys let me know what you think. Is Jeremy Roenick right, and are some NHL GMs just giving out way too much money and way too much term to some of these young kids too early? It definitely makes sense. You know, he's an old school guy, and this definitely isn't something that would happen back when he played in the NHL. So I'm very curious to hear your guys' thoughts, and I thought this Twitter argument with JR and some people was pretty funny. So that is going to wrap up today's video. I really hope you guys did enjoy. Make sure to let me know down in the comment section, what are your thoughts on all these contracts that were signed over the past week, and what RFA do you think is going to sign next? And also, do you think NHL GMs are giving out way too much money to these young players way too soon? It's definitely an interesting topic to talk about. So thank you guys so much all for watching, and if you did enjoy today's video, make sure to drop a like on it and subscribe to the channel for daily NHL content, and I will see you guys all in the next video.